Hey guys, you remember this gal? We're going to move her off the table over here and get her out of the way because we got her sister coming up here. And yeah, I was over at by Harbor Freight the other day, and I was picking up another one of these engines. And also, I had heard a rumor, and I wanted to investigate a little bit and see if there was anything to it or not. And as it turns out, this stock number here, item 57493, that's the only item number they have available for this 224 Predator engine. And that means that's why that this one had the emissions control on there. It's because so they could also sell it in California. And I had my local guys check, and they said that's it. There are no more part numbers for this engine. So evidently they're not going to make the Hemi 224 Predator, and that kind of disheartened me because I really liked the Hemi and I wanted a Hemi 224. So you know what? We're gonna make one. Now there were a lot of rumors. Yep, this has got the standard non-Hemi type head. And there were some rumors about these being Wildcat blocks, but they're not. They're not. The Wildcat would have a bolt down here, extra bolt hole down at the bottom of the cover. So these are not. And also, you know, the reason why I figured out pretty quick they're not is when I tried measuring the Wildcat 223 flat top piston and the Wildcat 223 rod in this block. The deck height on this block is very much taller. You know, I got like in excess of 30 thousandths down the hole on my other engine when I measured them, and it's just ridiculous. You know, so this block, the deck height has got to be a lot taller than the Wildcat. Plus, you know, that hole's not there, so it's not a Wildcat. They may share the same stroke crankshaft, and it may be even manufactured in the same place, but, you know, the crankshafts, but they're not. So while I was there, I picked up this 69730 Predator 212 Hemi engine. Now, I'd heard a rumor about this too, and I didn't experience it. Yeah, 69730. I didn't experience it until I went up there. The box has a picture of a Hemi inside, but you better peep through the holes and look and verify that you got that valve cover looking at you before you walk out the door with it, because this is the third box I looked inside. The other two boxes had the same pictures on the side, but inside of those boxes were non-Hemi engines. So I don't really think the box matters anymore. You got to open up, not open it, but look through those hand holes, cutouts in the side of the box, and to make sure you're getting what you're wanting. And I'll just zoom in on this specs here in case anybody wants to freeze frame it or something and check them out. But we're not going to spend much time here. But feel free. So yeah, just because it's got a picture of a Hemi engine on the box doesn't mean that that's a Hemi engine inside. That is a fact. Now I've experienced that. And this she's a good looking little gal too. Oh yeah, that's what I like. Yeah, one of these things is not like the other, but it's going to be soon. If we can do it. And there's a lot of comments on the other videos, and there's one comment asking, you think it would work? I said, yeah, I don't see any reason why it wouldn't, but I've not done it yet. So yeah, we're fixing to do that, and we're going to verify whether the Hemi top end will fit on the 224 or not. I want to find out one way or another. Now, if you've just got one that you want to upgrade, guys, you could probably just buy the Hemi Head But I needed a few more of these engines anyway, so I just picked up a complete engine because I have some plans for the little 212 Hemi engine too. These do come with a spark arrestor, and which, while not a performance item there, it's important to know, if you're going to use one of these in the forestry service or something, that spark arrestor is nice. Not so much important if you're going to put it on your mini bike or go-kart. Let me go get my box, okay? Yep, we got to get these hoses loose. Well, this one hose anyway. The other one can stay on there. I'm going to run through this and, this head swap. And I'm going to do it, basically in real time. Now, of course, I'm going to cut out the sections to where I'm looking for a tool or something, and I'm not working on the engine. But if we get to this part, like removing the air cleaner or something, if you don't really need to see that, you can feel free to skip forward. Mainly, I just wanted to put it in here, the step-by-step procedure, in case anybody's watching and they've never done this before. Although it's not hard, but still, it's good to have a guide. And some guys, maybe need a little help when they first get started. Now, I know a lot of you guys out there watching have already been through a million of these things, and that's great. But you got to keep in mind, there's the guy out there that hasn't yet. And I thought this was pretty funny. The guy at the factory put that clamp around on the back side, knowing it's almost impossible to get back in there, but that's okay. And this fuel line, I think he put some crazy glue on there too, because man, it's stuck. I mean, it's stuck on there. But that's okay, I've got a sense of humor too, and I kind of understand if other people do too. But man, this fuel line, I thought I was going to poke a hole in it here. And something too, I noticed, I don't know, it's not a big deal, but this fuel line felt softer than the fuel line on the 224. Like this was thinner stuff, not as thick as the 224. And now these are manufactured at a different factory, so there could be something to that. You guys know this deal. You slide the carb back, the linkage lifts right up, and then if you can get your finger in there to grab the spring, you just unhook the spring. I'm going to try it. Sometimes I got it. Now sometimes I just use the little that says SP on the carburetor. It's the same brand carburetor, same manufacturer as the 224, but it does not say Dakar on it. And I'm still looking for the manufacturer. I know, there's a lot of rumors, who's making the carburetors, but SP, I don't know. I found everything online from Singapore products to Singapore Power, I don't know. And it's really not that important to me. These little carburetors, I don't think there's much performance in them. But, some of them will do better than other ones, of course. And you can do some work on it if you want to hop up your stock carburetor. But if I was going to deal with that, I would probably just, if I had to stick with one of these carburetors and I wanted performance, I'd probably just buy me a Tilly carburetor, Tilson carburetor. I'm going to get my plastic spacer out of here before I end up messing something up. Now that gasket stuck to the head. I'm going to leave it on there because, 99% of the time when I start to peel a gasket off that's stuck like this, it rips up. So, and while I'm not, shy of spending money, I try to save what I can. And if the gasket tears up, I'll replace it. I'll repair it. I don't want my engine leaking oil. or in this case, that would be a vacuum leak. But usually, you know, if you don't tear a gasket up, there's no need to replace it unless you just want to. And, you know, that's on you. Everybody to each his own. I am using my brand new 1/4-inch drive impact I got from Harbor Freight. And I'm going to just use this for the assembly, so it's a little bit quicker because this is, you know, a kind of extended video. And for disassembly, when you're just pulling one apart, yeah, these are fine. But, you know, it'll stay over in the box or somewhere away from, while I'm, when I start to assemble it, it goes away. We don't use impacts to assemble on these. That was tight. Somebody really tightened down this head. Yeah. Let's get this plug out of here because I'm fixing to pop these head bolts loose with this ratchet and socket. Oh man, look at that. That is too tight. Now somebody, that's ridiculous. The same guy that tightened the head bolts must have tightened the spark plug. Well, you know, seems to be, I'll just break it loose with a wrench. Seems to be the 224 had a lot of stuff loose on it, and then the 212 Hemi is like over torqued. Man, there wasn't no need to, golly, there wasn't no need to make everything this tight, especially, you know, the spark plug. Good Lord. That's a lot of work getting out of that thing. Oh, man. Getting that thing out of there. That has got a torch plug. Okay, well, that's gone in the garbage. Yeah, at least the 224 had the LG plug, which I don't know. You know, it's probably one of the first LG plugs that I've owned that I know of it on the 224. So, I mean, if you guys have any experience with it, you know, let me know down in the comments whether those LGs are any good or not, because I honestly don't know. When I ran my cart and pulling tractors and stuff, I ran either NGK or Denso plugs. So, you know, that LG was a new one on me. But I know these torch plugs, man, they get a bad reputation. Ken Small Engines did a video on the torch plugs not long ago. And, you know, how they were not too great a quality. And it seems to me we've had, you know, the guys over in the UK seem to have better luck with torch plugs. So I was joking with Ken over on one of his videos in the comments section. I said, man, I don't know. Maybe they send us the guys in the United States get the ones from the dumpster out back, and the guys in the UK get the good torch plugs. I don't know, but I'll probably, you know, and I won't throw that plug away. You know, no, it's a brand new plug. I'll probably run it till it fails, which will probably be soon. Now these head bolts, guys, these are all the same length, so you don't have to worry about mixing them up. Just or which one came out of what hole. So let's oh, come on, get out of there. No problem. You can swap holes with them. It doesn't matter. They're all the same length. Man, I should have removed this guard before I took those head bolts loose. That was silly. Well, there's only three bolts, and they're all 8mm. The head bolts were 12mm, I believe. Yeah. See, this is why I should have removed the guard. So, the head doesn't fall down on my push rods, which that's okay. Oh, it's got a flat top in there. Yes, I like that. We'll definitely do something with that. Yeah, you know me, guys. I'm marking, putting a little black Sharpie mark on my exhaust push rod, so I know that one came out of the exhaust side. And I'm admiring this head off camera, so just bear with me. But the cylinder looks good. It's got a nice crosshatch, a good finish on this thing. They did a fine job. And I really want to see if this thing's got any pop-up, but that gasket is pretty much stuck. And I know what's going to happen if I start messing with that gasket. That's why I was so shocked on the 224s. The head gasket basically just fell off of the other one. And that's not been my luck. This is, oh no, don't do it. Don't do it. Don't scrape that gasket, because you're going to put another head on there anyway. Leave it alone. Leave it alone. But yeah, when I start doing this, man, that gasket's gone. It's going to be tore up. And stop it. There, yeah. Just leave it alone, because you're going to put another head on there, right? So leave it alone. Beautiful looking flat top. Very nice. Machine finish on top is nice too. Okay, that's the Hemi done. So we've got that part pulled. Now let's pull the head off of this 224. Get my little chrome acorn nuts off here. And I think they tightened those down with the impact, because they're really over tightened. The other one were too. They give me a new box. Yeah, the other 224 that we built, guys, it had they had really over torqued the air cleaner. Actually cut out the center sections of the air cleaner to carb gasket. And yeah, you guys remember this deal. You got the extra emission holes that comes around from the charcoal canister. That kind of shocked me the first time. I was like, whoa, what is this in here? But usually you get a screwdriver behind them and just pry them this way. They'll slide off usually. This one's, there we go. He was being kind of a pain, but slide our air cleaner off here. Now, I do like these air cleaners. I like the element in there. The Hemi has also got a good like an oval element in there, so those are good. But I gotta admit, I like this air cleaner better. And these are the same deal. Where in the world? Let me get this clamp off here. The same guy playing another joke. Did they put them all on the back side or what? Oh, man. Maybe there's a reason. I don't know. Now, this one slid off a lot easier. And that hose, it feels thicker. I don't know if it is, but I didn't measure them or anything, but it just feels like a different hose on the 224 as compared to the 212. Save this gasket. Yep, they over tightened it. Look at that. A little bit section cut out there. And you guys remember the drill. You slide the carb out, lift up the linkage, grab the spring, and yeah, this time I'm going to grab it with the little needle nose. My hand don't work too good in small places. Slide him out. Easy enough. Try not to mess this gasket up. Good. I'll tell you, I like this color scheme they got going on this 224. I really do. I know I've mentioned that before, but I just like red. I like the red and the black works good. Now I'm gonna pull this throttle plate off here, guys. This top throttle plate, and it's only a couple of bolts holding that on. They're 8mm. One up there next to the tank, and then one back here in the back, next to close to the valve cover. And that's really it. The only thing else that's holding on there is just there's the spring that connects to the governor right there. Yeah, I don't think I'll just leave that on there. Get it out of the way. I'll get this muffler off here. Oh yeah, a little impact makes disassembly a lot quicker. And we're doing this job twice, just once on the 212, now on the 224. I'll pull this plug out of here, or well, plug wire. Little spacer. And something I noticed that carb spacer is a few thousandths bigger than the 212 was. Now I don't know. That could have just been a manufactured difference. You know, I don't know. But the 224 spacer does move. Man, that was tight too, but it wasn't as tight as the other one. Now I just dropped that handle. It's not because the spark plug was over torqued. And yep, there's LG again. All right. Hopefully this are good plugs. I don't know. You guys tell me. Oh yeah, this is much better than watching me work that ratchet. That popped off good. Easy. Valve cover gasket stayed in place. Good. Man, they glue these in with something. I don't know. It's working. Whatever it is. The other one didn't leak. I don't expect this one to leak either. But I'll get this head off here. And a quick fact, you know, guys, you might want to consider if you take your head off and stuff and you start looking at your valve lash caps and you figure out you've only got one, don't worry about it. You you only get one on these. So yeah, one will have a lash cap and the other one won't. So don't worry about it. You didn't lose anything. It's okay. Yeah, these heads were torqued down fairly correctly. They weren't over torqued anyway. Yeah, that Hemi engine, man, whoever tightened the spark plug and the head bolts on the Hemi engine was feeling their oats that day at work. Or they was just playing a joke on us dumb American guys, but it's okay. It came off of there. A little magnet, get them out of the way. And again, these are all the same length. No surprises there. You can't go wrong. And I'll be darned if I didn't do it again. I took everything loose on this head before I took off this shield. Now look at that. Great. Fell right down on my push rods. Of course, I don't think it was hard enough to bend them, but still. You know, the choice of having it fall on the push rods and not fall on the push rods, I'd rather it not fall on them. But, you know, don't make my mistake, guys. Just go ahead and take this loose before you remove the head bolts, and you don't have to worry about your head falling down on your push rods. Genius. Okay. Come out of there. these up. Now you gotta lift these towards the top of the slot too. And look at that. That head gasket just fell right off, man. And that other one was glued to the head with Indian shellac or something. I don't know. And again, you know, I'm gonna mark my exhaust push rod so I know which one goes where. Or which one came out of which hole anyway. And this is the second time I have saved a head gasket and not torn one up because it basically just fell off. And we got this dish piston in there. I'm not necessarily loving that, but that's okay. This is just going to be a temporary deal. Today, we're just going to make a Hemi. Now, later on, we might modify it and get rid of that dish piston and do some other things. But today, we just want to see and verify. Yeah. Looks like the Hemi push rods are shorter. Yeah. That's a good sign. Of course, that means they're going to have to stay with the Hemi head, but that's okay, you know. That is a good sign, fellas. It really is. And this is just the non-Hemi type head. No surprises there. And the Hemi, of course, you know, the one on top is the Hemi head. It looks like kind of like a bowl. And the way those valves are lined up and angled in the ports, they flow a lot better. Now, I know the racing guys don't really like these because you got to spend a lot of money welding and machine work and stuff on a stock Hemi head. And really, it's probably better if you're going to go with a Hemi to go with like an aftermarket CNC billet head. Now, this piston here is also below the deck. So it's not coming up to the top. And this block, I'm going to measure it out. The other block came out at 3 thousandths in the hole. And this one is going to come out in the hole. Come on. 2 thousandths in the hole. So, we're starting to get a routine here. Most of them are either right at top dead center, or they're below the deck 2 to 3 thousandths. Now that's I verified that on 2 of these 224 engines. So I guess, you know, if you're going to use one of these blocks and one of those pistons, you know, you would probably want to deck your block, depending on, you know, you guys building for go-kart classes, you got some weird rules you got to follow. So, okay, moment of truth here. Now, can I put this head on, put the push rods through the holes and put them on the rockers and line everything up in one shot? And the answer is no, I can't do it. I guess I needed 3 hands, but that's okay. That's all right. What are the chances that, you know, the valve lash would have been close anyway? You know, I'm sure it was off a mile, so it's not like we're not going to readjust the valve lash. We are. And I already put the head bolts in because you guys know how that goes. Try to speed it up a little bit. Now these are 9mm lock nuts that hold the lash adjusters down on the rockers. And I'm just going to have to unscrew that by a mile and get that push rod under there. There we go. I'll run that back down just a little bit. And, you know, the rocker assemblies on these Hemis, I like them better than the non-Hemi too. Just a nicer setup. Now, the way I do these valves, guys, you know, and I think most everybody knows how to adjust their own valves, but on these Harbor Freight engines, most of them is 3 thousandths, and I just set mine at 3 cold. And I really have a lot better luck adjusting the valves on the Hemi because you can set it where your drag is a little loose on your feeler gauge, and then tighten down that lock nut. And when you tighten that lock nut down, your drag will tighten up just a little bit. So if you start out just a little loose, by the time you tighten your lock nut down, you've got just about the right amount of drag on that valve lash. So these are, you know, twice as easy, or probably even easier, more than that, easier than the than the old non-Hemi type valve train. Now this one I went a little bit, got it a little bit too tight, so I'm going to back it off some now. But usually, you know, just with a couple of goes, you can usually get this valve lash adjusted. And the way I do mine, guys, I open the valve up on one side all the way, and then I'll adjust the one that's at closer to top dead center here, you know. And that way, if you do it this way, that'll keep you from ever getting on that exhaust cam decompression valve, or the compression release. If you make I don't know what happened there, it just jumped on me. And you guys remember this stuff. It's just the engine pre-assembly lube that I used on the other engine, and it's like a 1/3 mixture of Lucas engine oil treatment and 2/3 of any type of synthetic motor oil. I'm gonna poke some down in the holes. It's pretty warm today, so this stuff is pretty thin. It's dripping today. Didn't have that problem the other day. I'm actually tickled to be out here in the shop today, man. I'm wearing short sleeves. When we built that billet rod flat top piston Predator 224, it was in the 20s. Now my gasket didn't tear up, so I'm going to reuse it. And as long as it don't leak, hey, we're golden. And, you know, if it starts leaking, well, then I'll replace it. But that's just me. You know, if you guys want to put a brand new gasket on there, feel free. And, you know, I don't know what, I didn't look up the torque specs on this valve cover. That's the wrong size socket. Let's put the 8mm on instead of the 9. Yeah, just, you know, be conservative here when you tighten these down. Just snug them up. It's not a connecting rod or a side cover bolt or anything. And you just snug them up and give it a little. Of course, you know, it's always best when you tighten stuff down to go in like a cross pattern. Well, that's the way I do it anyway, guys. Now, this carb I've already slid up here, and I'll tell you what I should have done. I should have pulled this over out of the way, but I already. In fact, that thing's getting aggravating, and we may do something about that. And your top linkage plate, guys, just, you know, goes right back in place. Only thing on the bottom of it is just that one spring that's connected to the governor. Connects to the red handle there. No big deal. And you put them 2 8mm bolts in. Just kind of snug them down. You know, again, I don't know what the torque spec is. You know, if you want to, I'm sure you could find it online somewhere. Now, I'm going to pull my fuel emission system off here. The the California emission system. So, you know, don't you guys tell nobody in California I did this. But, you know, I'm in Kentucky, so we don't have to have that. And what am I going to do? This, I'll figure out that. I want to keep this tank vent, but yeah, we'll route that later. Put a zip tie somewhere. Keep it from flopping around. And for the time being, I'm there we go. Yeah, remember to line that gasket up with that hole in the carb, guys. Don't want to block that off. And I'll try to turn you guys around where you can see. Now there's you want to get this valve cover vent plugged up, and that hose worked perfect. It's almost like it was made for it, huh? So far this Hemi head is fitting on the 224. Everything is going to plan. I've got the 224 carb and breather on there, and also the Hemi hose from the vent from the valve cover from the Hemi engine. It just switched right over to this breather. No issues whatsoever. Now I'm gonna just snug these down. I'm not gonna tighten them down as much as they were. Just you know, be sensible here, guys. That feels good enough to me. Good fit. I'm not going to worry about where that other line was. It's fine. The air will have to go through the filter anyway. It's okay. If any issues, then I'll plug that off. But now I'm starting to run low on my ethanol-free fuel here. Normally I don't have to make that stuff in the wintertime, but I'm going to have to make me another batch here pretty quick. And, you know, we might do a video on that. I'll just add mine to the hundreds of videos that's already on YouTube about how to get ethanol out of your gasoline. It's a good thing to do, and you really don't want to. Did I start this straight? Yeah, I guess that feels okay. You really don't want to leave ethanol in any small engine, ethanol fuel in any small engine. I'll pull this oil fill out. Now you guys already know how to fill up one of the oil, so I'll just skip forward through that. Okay, I put oil in it. And I thought, well, let me try out this cheap header pipe I bought and see if it fits on this one any better. Of course, you know, I had to cut the flange and everything else. I liked the pipe, the design. You know, it's got 2 stages there in the back. And I like the bend of it, the curve. But man, that flange that they put on there, it's crap. Let's just be honest. So I'm going to end up, you know, it'll kind of fit on there, but I'm going to end up cutting that flange off. And, you know, I make my own headers normally. I just ordered this one because it was quick and ready to go, supposedly. And probably what I'll end up doing, I'll cut that flange off and go over to the TSC store, Tractor Supply Company, and buy some big, thick washers. Something in the 1 inch or 1.125 or whatever range. And, you know, you can lay a gasket on those washers and get your bolt holes, drill them out, and weld it on. They make great header flanges. Let's route this fuel tank vent away from the exhaust pipe. That might be a good idea. So, here we go. Will it work? Does it work? Let me move you guys over a little bit. Sorry. It works. Ooh, I'm liking the sound of that exhaust. Have to do a little adjustment on the governor speed, but you know, probably won't, because this is going to be just a temporary deal. Sounds good. Uh-oh. It's lean. Either that or maybe it just didn't warmed up yet. Let's try it again. Seems like it runs okay. It might still just be a little bit lean. I don't know. Well, this one's not jumping off the table like the other one does, but so there you go, guys. Can you put a Hemi head on a 224 Predator? I'd say that's a yes. And it worked out just fine, I think. So yeah, we may do something of this later. Thanks for hanging out with me, guys. See you next time.